Hello, this is John Morrison from Life Academy. Today I want to talk about the future. A new year has come and we're looking at the ramifications of the new year. We're looking at trying to make the year better, trying to make the year different than last year. And it amazes me that people do two things. We look at our life and we say that we were better in the past and we're going to be better in the future. We're always in the future, we're always richer and we're always thinner. Look at our past. We had more time and we were healthier. And we look at today and we say, oh, today, I'm in debt. But you wish you had a job one time. You have a job. So you have debt, but you're able to pay for your debt. Or you're bombarded with things. You have children. You have a person you got to take care of in your life. When you were lonely at one time and you had no children, you had no spouse, you were someone who was sickly. But now you're a little overweight, but you're not that bad off. We tend to forget how we got this way, and the things that we want to say are, let's say they were our goals, they're not our reality. It's like, yeah, I have a mortgage now, but one time I wish I had a house. You know, oh, I guess find some time to be by myself because my family obligations are so stressful. But at one time I was single, didn't have anyone in my life. So the point is, you have to understand that there are things in your life that you wish that you had, and there are things in your life that you wish that you had. But what about what you have today? You have your health, you got your family, you've got time. You've got time. If you were to go into your future, I don't know how old you are right now, but let's say you go into your future of 50 years. So how old would that make you? Okay, so if you're 20, you'd be 70. If you're 10, you'd be 60. The point is, 50 years is a long way in the future. And you have to look at being there and saying to yourself, I had all that time before that, and what did I do with it? So when we look at our time, we look at our life, we have to understand that it's not about what happened in the past. It's not even about what's happening right now. It's about what's happening in the future, what will happen to us in the future. Because that's where our life is it really has focus. For example, if you are going to see a movie, you're not worrying about what happened in the past. You're not even worried about what happened right now. You're worried about seeing the movie in the future. So you prepare for it. You drive. If you're going to go on a date, you're going for something. If you're going to make love to your spouse, you're going towards something in the future, but you have to prepare for it today so that it makes sense. And so the point I want to make today is preparation is important. It's important to look at your life as being something that will prepare you for the future. And the future is something that will take you on and on, because you only live in that space in your mind that you're going towards, because time is always moving forward. As I'm speaking now, time is moving forward. It's moving forward, moving forward. I am older now than I was at the beginning of this tape. And so the point is, time is always moving forward. Now, you can rewind the tape, but you can't rewind your life. And so if I say to myself that I fear my future, I say, oh yeah, one day I'm going to be 60 or I'm going to be 70, or look at someone who's 80. So, I don't want to live that long, or be in that age. But the point is, you have to be there if you're still alive. You can't just sustain yourself in one time frame, one age. You can't be 25 for 2 years. Okay. Now, someone may look young, but they're not. They're getting older. And so the point is, getting older means that you're going into your experience and you're getting something out of it. If you're not, then you're stuck. So imagine if you went to school and there was a kid in 5th grade with you, and he looked to be 10 years older than anyone else. And you say, what happened? And you say, well, I like being in the I like being in the fifth grade, so I decided to stay. Just stay here and just experience a fifth grade life where all the other kids moved on, and now he's just stuck in that stage. He may enjoy it, but he can't get anything out of it, and he's always going to be required to move on. When people come in, they see him, they will say, he doesn't fit in this picture. He shouldn't want to be here. Now, what he could do is he could become a fifth grade teacher. You see, then he could experience a fifth grade experience by teaching, but not by being in the class as a student. So you have to understand that life will require you to move on. If you want to stay in a certain area, you have to stay there as a teacher, not as a student. So I look at my life, and I see people, of my age, my peers, and what's happening with their life. I do realize that a lot of people are wasting their time. When you start to move towards 60, and you see people in your age, you say, well, they're out of shape, or they're wasting their time, or they're feeling like they want to retire. Now, I personally do not believe in retirement. Retirement is something that I think it's I guess maybe it's an American concept, but it's a modern concept of working, and then you stop, and then you retire until you do nothing. Okay, in the Bible, people never retired; they just died. There's an Indian, I don't know what tribe of Indian, but there's an Indian culture where a wise man would go to a place, and he would prepare himself to die. He wouldn't even be necessarily unhealthy; he'd just be old, and he would be in a mindset that says that I am tired of working at what I'm doing, and my time is over. So he would go to a tent, and he would sit there, and he would say, I will die. And then they come back the next day, and they find him dead. He would actually let his spirit go, release his spirit, let his life go, and he would be gone. But the point is, we don't do that. We say to ourselves, we're gonna work for 40 years in the company, and then we're gonna retire, and then we're gonna go out fishing. And then a lot of times, what people do when they retire, they die within months or years of their retirement. So when a person is on purpose, they don't want to let that purpose go. They don't want to retire. I don't want to retire. I might not want to be a cab driver my entire life, but I don't want to not teach. I don't want to not live and enjoy and learn and grow and explore. So when I see people today, and they're focusing primarily on TV, on their cell phone, on what others think about them, and how they can relate to other people to appease them, then I'm thinking, well, they're not looking at their future. When the person decides, for example, that they're going to get, let's say, a tag in the back of their, of their body, or a facial tattoo, or arm tattoo, just anything like that. That's a permanent thing. They're not looking at their future, because they're saying to themselves, the way I feel today is what I'm always going to feel, and that's just not true. There are things that you might like today, and tomorrow you might not like them at all. Think about there are things that you liked when you were a child that you thought your life was just perfect with it. Like, for example, when I was a child, I said to myself, when I grow up, I'm going to go to the cereal store, or to go to buy cereal in the store, to the cereal aisle, and I'm going to choose this particular brand because I love eating this particular brand of cereal. And when I'm an adult and I have my own time, my own money, and my own freedom, I'm going to go and do that. Well, I tell you what, when I became an adult, I did not buy that cereal because my attitude changed. And so I realized that your attitude does change, and things that you want become time-based, or they become day-based. So what I want in my day is to learn something that I can use for tomorrow. I'm doing that since I was probably 15. I would learn something that I would teach to my friends. So for me, my daily activity is involved in learning something that I can teach to other people. That's how I do that. And also, now that I make videos, I actually can teach myself. There are things that I may have forgotten, and so I go back and watch a video that I made 5-10 years ago, whatever it was, and say, oh yeah, that's something I want to go back and revisit that skill. So life is about learning. Now, when I call my program Life Academy, that means that I feel that life is about learning something. It's not like you go into a school and then 4 years later you get a degree and then you leave. Life is about every day learning something new. So if you learn a new word, you start a new language, you learn a new skill, or you revisit an old skill and you perfect it, then that's how you continue on with the Life Academy experience of every day learning something new. So my goal today is not to really teach you anything specific, but to be more of a generalist and say that it's important for you to look at your life in phases, knowing that you can only experience so much in a certain amount of time. Now, I look at a dog's life. A dog lives average 10 years. Now, if a dog lives longer than that, that's great. But 10 years is pretty well set for the dog. You realize when you get a dog, 10 years, the dog will be gone. Well, it's the same thing with you. If you were born, you have 10 years to be a small child. From birth to age 10, that's 10 years. So you learn to relate to other people, you learn to relate to your environment, you learn to do rudimentary skills, standing, walking, tying your shoes, you know, things like that, going into school and doing your work. And then you become a teenager. Now, teenagers, you really start at the age of 10. Okay, so even though they say teenagers, like you say 13, well, really when you're 10, you're now in your teens. You're in your tens. So from let's say 11, because you want to go from 0 to 10. But while you're in that 11th year at 10 to 20, you're in your teens, and so you have 10 years to do something special in that time. Okay, 19 years. So you learn to relate to your body changing. Okay, you become more of an adult. Now, in nature, as soon as you can produce children, then you are considered an adult. Now, science that's not true, but there are people who were born hundreds of years ago, and when they hit puberty, they got married. So they were getting married at 14, 16, and getting ready for their life, and they were having children when they were 18. And so by the time they were 25, they had a full family of kids, and they were able to start doing things. Today we hold back a little longer. We might start getting married in our mid 20s, early 30s, or even beyond that. But the point is, your body is ready to start doing things. You have strength that your body gives you from the age of 14 that you don't have when you were 10. So your teens are time for you to start to learn about your body and prepare your mind to be able to be functioning in the world. So in your teens, you're in a higher level of school. You're in high school, and then you're in college, and then you're ready to move on. Now, when you're in your 20s, again, you have 10 years to prepare yourself to be an adult in a functional way. Now, on a mental level, your body and your mind don't connect until you're about 25. So at 25, your psyche changes and you become a full an effective adult. They say that if a person makes a decision, which is like a life-changing decision before they're 25, a lot of times it's not even legal because their mind isn't really set. That's why you can't go into a contract until you're like 21 for certain things, because your mind is not strong enough to really comprehend what you're doing. At least society says that, and I think psychiatry would suggest that is true. So when you're from 21 to 30, 20 to 30, whatever it is, those 9 or 10 years, you're preparing yourself to be an adult, to go into the world and to make a difference. So you've matured to some level, but now you're maturing to another level, and you're ready. So you give yourself 10 years. Now, I can go on and on. When you get to 40s, your 50s, all these things, you're preparing yourself for something that's coming up next. And by being prepared for it, when it comes, you're ready for it, even your own demise. But what I'm saying is that if you fail to do these things, if you fail to take those 10 years and prepare yourself, then that that little boy, that little girl who should have spent that first 10 years of their life preparing themselves to be a child and learning about the environment and growing and exploring, then they're ill-equipped when they're teenagers. They're still childish. They're underdeveloped. A person who was in their teens and they didn't spend that time to prepare themselves for adulthood coming up in the 20s, they're still childish. They're still like teenagers. They want to be 16 forever, and so now they're dysfunctional. They can't really get into the newness of it with a sense of readiness. They're always kind of stuck in the past. A person who is in their 20s, they prepare themselves to be a functional adult, fully realized adult. They're immature. They're always thinking about being young and dressing like a teenager and being focused on youth as only in the aspect of being young and inexperienced, not about looking youthful, but being kind of young and naive. So they're dysfunctional. They can't speak properly. They can't function properly. They're always trying to re-up because they're lacking. They forgot that the 10 years of that period was for them to prepare themselves for the next. So that's what you do. You have to prepare yourself. Now, if you don't want to look at 10 years, you can look at months. A year has 12 months. So again, you prepare yourself for the next year. Or even closer, you prepare yourself in 4 months for the next season. So you can say to yourself, I want to do something in this season, so I'm going to take this time to prepare myself for the season. If you want to be able to do something in the spring, prepare yourself in the winter. You want to be able to do something in the summer, prepare yourself in the spring, and so on and so forth. You always have time. See, time is given to us in a package. We call it seconds, minutes, right? Hours, days, weeks. It goes on and on. So pick any division that you want to use to your advantage. It's hard to use seconds, but seconds are important as well. I remember when I was getting ready for my wedding, I wanted to lose weight, so I got on a treadmill and I was doing an hour. Okay, so every second I could see on the timer it was turning, and every second I said to myself, "Thank you that I'm still here, that I'm still working out, that I'm still moving towards that hour." And so I got as much as I could out of every second, out of every minute of that hour. So that was something I did. But it's hard to live your life based on seconds. But you can look at your time in minutes. So you wake up in the morning and you say, okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes doing this, 10 minutes doing that, half hour doing that. When I drive, I'm going to spend that time in traffic doing this. When I work, I'm going to work and then take off for lunch and do this. After work, I'm going to do this. So there's an adage in the Bible that says that you work all day on your job, and then at night you spend the time on your work for your life. So the attitude is when you have a job, you put in that time. You do that so you can have your mortgage and have your needs taken care of. But at night, you spend time on your future, on things that are important to you. So if you come home after work and you sit down and you plop down and you just watch TV, well, now you're giving your life away to another entity. What I tend to do after work, I tend to take a walk. I take a walk for an hour around the city and just exercise my body and get the stress out of my head, prepare myself. That's important. Also understand that when you spend time, that time will change. Like for example, you may learn something today and it might seem difficult, but then tomorrow it seems easier. Like I remember I was trying to say something Chinese. I was trying to say from, and then the time of day, and then to, and the time of day, and then like that there. And it wasn't working out. I kept on trying to say it, but then a day later, it just kind of came out. So the point is, when you think about something, you put it into your mind. So I'm going to end by saying this. I'm going to give you a good tip that someone gave me. Tell yourself that you already have it. Okay? You can do it in two ways. You can say to yourself, say for example that you want to do something. Let's say you want to give a speech, and you say, now the speech was going to happen on Monday. Okay, so you would say to yourself that on Monday, as if it was in the past, I gave this speech, and when I spoke, I was just strong, and I was resolute, and I was on point, and the people were reacting to what I had to say in a positive way, and it was just great, and I rocked it. And so when that time comes, you already lived through it, and then you did it. But also, you can tell yourself now that I have success. You can say to yourself, you know what? I weigh 180 pounds. I have 100,000 subscribers. I'm able to speak 5 languages fluently. I've written a book, and it was a bestseller. My relationship is just really special. I have a beautiful, mate. Anything that you want, you just kind of talk it up as if it were real, and make it so compelling that your psyche says, "Oh, I like how that feels," and now we're going to start to make that a reality, make that something that you can really say, "I have in my life." So that's something I'm going to give to you today. Say to yourself that you have these things, so that when they come, you're already ready to receive them. You tell yourself, "Oh yeah, I weigh 180 pounds." But then when you're sitting down to eat and you're eating a bunch of junk food and you're not exercising your body, then you're telling yourself, no, you don't. Because someone weighs 180 pounds would be someone who exercised to keep their body that way and who ate properly to keep their body in that way. Someone who eats junk food and doesn't exercise is someone who weighs 250 pounds. That's your reality. So change it, speak it, be it, and never forget that Life Academy is about you. It's about all of us. We are all in this world, and we're all here to learn. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to hit the notification button for more content, and always watch it more than once, because when you watch it more than once, you kind of get a greater feel of what was being said here. So again, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.